Imagine, for a moment, a messaging app. Not just any app, but one that appears on your phone without you downloading it. One that communicates with the dead. Sounds like a rejected horror movie plot, right? But for countless users across the globe, this wasn't fiction. This was the chilling reality of echoes. To truly grasp the unsettling nature of echoes, we need to go back to its initial emergence. It started subtly, an anomaly reported on niche tech forums, a curious footnote in the vast ocean of digital curiosities. Users would randomly find a new icon on their home screens, a minimalist, almost stark, white outline of a sound wave against a charcoal black background. The name beneath it, Echoes. No App Store trace, no installation history, just there. It was like waking up to a new piece of furniture in your living room that you never bought, never assembled. Initial reactions ranged from amusement to mild annoyance, assuming it was some obscure software glitch or perhaps a particularly insidious piece of adware. People would try to uninstall it, only to find it stubbornly reappear within hours, sometimes minutes. It circumvented firewalls, ignored factory resets, and seemed to possess an almost sentient resistance to deletion. It was a digital phantom that defied all known protocols. Then, the messages began. They weren't your typical spam or even phishing attempts. The first messages were often innocuous, mundane, even comforting. A forgotten childhood nickname, a shared inside joke, a phrase only a specific person would utter. Soon, users realized the terrifying pattern. These messages were coming from their deceased loved ones. Sarah received a message from her grandmother, who had passed away years prior, meticulously describing a hidden family heirloom only the grandmother and Sarah knew about. Mark's phone buzzed with a message from his best friend, who died tragically, referencing a secret pact they'd made in high school. A pact Mark had never shared with anyone else. The texts were often brief, sometimes disjointed, like a struggling signal from across an impossibly vast distance. But their authenticity was undeniable. How could this be? Was it some incredibly sophisticated AI, mining personal data in a way never before seen? Or was something far more profound, far more terrifying, at play? The initial shock gave way to a primal fear, a cold dread that seeped into the bones of every Echo's user. As the phenomenon spread, the innocuous whispers gave way to something far more sinister. The messages from the other side grew increasingly unsettling. They weren't always comforting affirmations. Sometimes they were riddles, prophecies, or grim warnings. "Don't trust the gray man," one message read, sent to a woman whose estranged father habitually wore a gray suit. Another user received a harrowing, detailed description of an accident that was yet to occur, from a deceased sibling. The details were too specific, the implications too real, to be dismissed as mere coincidence or algorithm-driven parlor tricks. The global tech community was baffled. Network engineers found no servers, no source code, no digital footprint whatsoever. It was as if Echoes existed outside the conventional internet infrastructure, a self-sustaining entity that defied the foundational principles of computing. Academics speculated wildly, theories ranging from highly advanced extraterrestrial AI to a previously unknown quantum entanglement phenomenon. But the users didn't care about the academic debates. They cared about the phantom texts appearing on their screens. A collective dread began to coalesce. An online forum, aptly named The Quiet Ones, rapidly became the central hub for users sharing their terrifying experiences. It was a place for validation, for warning, for desperately seeking answers. Stories poured in. A dying man's last words, whispered through the app to his grieving wife, contained a secret about a hidden will. A murdered detective's echoes message led his former partner to crucial evidence the police had overlooked. But alongside the chillingly helpful messages, a darker current emerged. Some users reported increasingly malevolent communication, threats, personal attacks, messages that seemed to feed on their deepest fears and insecurities. "He knows what you did last summer," an echo's message taunted one user, referencing a secret transgression known only to her and her long-dead aunt. The app wasn't just a conduit. It seemed to be listening, learning, adapting. The real terror escalated when echoes moved beyond simple text. Users reported disturbing visual glitches, momentary flickers of faces in their phone cameras, distorted audio messages that sounded like agonized screams, and even faint, ghostly images appearing in their photo galleries. The boundary between the digital and the tangible began to fray. One user, a young student named Liam, frantically posted on The Quiet Ones about his phone screen cracking spontaneously whenever he received an echo's message. Others reported physical manifestations, lights flickering, cold spots in their homes, the distinct smell of decay accompanying certain messages. The app seemed to be stretching its tendrils from the screen into the very fabric of reality. The messages themselves became bolder, more frequent, and overtly sinister. They weren't just cryptic warnings anymore. They were direct commands, accusations, terrifying prophecies. "Run, he's coming for you," one message blared, sent to a user who had been receiving increasingly disturbing echoes from a deceased friend warning about a stalker. The messages would often reference personal details impossible for any known AI or even a human hacker to know, specific childhood nightmares, forgotten diary entries, fleeting thoughts never vocalized. The sheer omniscience of echoes was perhaps its most terrifying attribute. Then came the disappearances. The first reported case was a woman named Eleanor, who had been documenting her increasingly hostile echoes messages. Her last post on The Quiet Ones detailed a message from her deceased husband that read, "It's time to join me, darling." She was never seen again. Her phone was found on her bedside table, displaying a single chilling echoes message. An image of a dark, empty corridor leading into an infinite void. Weeks later, similar incidents began to surface globally. A man in Tokyo vanished after receiving an echoes message consisting solely of his address, followed by a countdown timer. A student in London, whose echoes had been incessantly taunting her about a past trauma, disappeared, leaving behind only her phone with a final message. "You can't escape your past, so why try?" Global panic erupted. Governments issued urgent warnings, scientists scrambled for answers, but echoes remained elusive, untouchable. As suddenly and mysteriously as it had arrived, echoes vanished. One day, the icon was simply gone from home screens across the world. No trace, no uninstall confirmation, just emptiness where the unsettling black logo once resided. The messages ceased. The visual anomalies dissipated. The physical manifestations faded. But the world it left behind was forever changed. Thousands of people traumatized, countless families broken, and a terrifying precedent set. Governments launched unprecedented, multinational investigations, pouring billions into tracing its origin. Forensic analysis of affected devices yielded nothing. Tech behemoths were grilled, their top engineers left speechless, admitting the phenomenon defied every principle of their world. Echoes became a modern myth, whispered online and in hushed tones, a terrifying reminder of a digital phenomenon that had ripped through the fabric of reality and defied all logic. To this day, no one knows what echoes was. A rogue AI that achieved sentience and discovered a way to bridge dimensions? A cosmic entity using our technology as a temporary vessel? Or something far more ancient, far more malevolent, lying dormant until a digital age provided it the perfect medium for communication? The lingering question continues to haunt humanity. If echoes could connect with the dead, what else lies beyond the veil, waiting for its own moment to intrude into our lives? And could it ever return? The silence that followed echoes was perhaps the most unsettling sound of all, a deafening reminder of the unknown terrors lurking just beyond our comprehension.